Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're embarking on a super practical journey into mastering real-life restaurant English. Look, if you're focused on actually improving your day-to-day language skills, there is literally no better place to start than the dining table. So, I've got to ask you, are you ready to order in English? If you've ever felt that slight moment of panic or hesitation when a waiter walks up to your table, you are exactly where you need to be. This explainer is basically your ultimate survival toolkit. By the end of our time together, you're going to have the confidence and the exact vocabulary to totally own a night out at any English-speaking restaurant. Okay, let's dive right into this. We're going to learn the ropes by following two friends, Ollie and Ahmed. We'll map out their evening in 4 chronological steps. First reserving, then ordering, next eating, and finally paying. Let's get to it. Step 1, making a reservation. This covers the essential steps you gotta take before you even leave the house. So our story kicks off in the afternoon. Ollie calls up a new restaurant to book a table for 2 people at 8 p.m. Now, I really want to emphasize this very first action. He doesn't just show up crossing his fingers for an open seat, right? He's being proactive and reaching out first. Let's hit pause on the story for just a second. We really need to look at these vital phrases. A reservation, or to book a table, simply means reserving your place in advance. This is exactly the phrasing you're going to use to safely lock in your spot for the night.
Fast forward a bit to step 2, ordering your meal. The guys have finally arrived at the table.
Here's what happens when they get there. A waiter welcomes them, shows them to their table, and hands over the menu. Pay super close attention to this interaction, because this physical exchange is where our core restaurant vocabulary really starts to shine.
And this brilliantly illustrates a great trick for learning. Categorizing these new words helps our brains hold on to them so much faster. So we've got our nouns, the tangible things or people right in front of you, like the menu and the waiter. And then, on the flip side, we have the actions the staff performs, like when they take an order or serve the food. Make sense?
Now, as Ollie is glancing over the menu, he mentions that this specific spot was highly recommended. So what does that actually mean for us? Well, when something is highly recommended, it means it's strongly suggested just because it is exceptionally good. It's the absolute perfect phrase to drop when you want to explain to someone why you picked a specific place to eat.
Moving our narrative forward, the waiter swings back around and successfully takes their order. Ahmed goes for soup as an appetizer, and Ali orders chicken and rice. Boom! They are using their vocabulary perfectly to get exactly what they want.
Let's put our teacher hats back on for a quick second and define Ahmed's soup choice. An appetizer is simply a small dish that's served before the main meal. Grasping the sequence of a meal like this is totally vital. You definitely don't want to accidentally order a massive, heavy steak when you were just craving a light little starter.
Which brings us to step 3, paying the bill and concluding the meal. But hey, right before the financial transaction happens, let's set the scene a bit. After about 10 minutes, this fresh, totally delicious food is served, and the two friends just spend time talking and eating. Clearly, this place lived up to being highly recommended. And maintaining this part of the story is a great reminder that dining out is supposed to be a fun, relaxing experience.
Well, the meal eventually wraps up, bringing us to that final, absolute must-know step. The bill is simply the total amount you need to pay, and to pay the bill is the actual action of handing over your money. So, wrapping up their actual dining journey, let's look at Ollie and Ahmed's final actions to settle their tab. Ollie asks for the bill, and Ahmed decides to pay it using his card. It's simple, it's efficient, and it is exactly how things play out in the real world. And finally, step 4, food for thought. Let's look at some final reflections before we go. I actually want to read Ali's exact reflection to you here, because it so perfectly frames our final learning takeaway for the evening. He says, "Eating at new places gives me food for thought. We should try new restaurants more often." Let's unpack that really quick. Food for thought is a great idiom, and surprisingly, it literally has nothing to do with physical food. It just means something that makes you think seriously. It's such a brilliant example of how restaurant vocabulary can completely transcend literal eating and actually be used to spice up your broader everyday English conversations. So, having mapped out this entire journey, all the way from reserving a table to paying the bill, I want to leave you with one final provocative question. Where are you booking your next table? I genuinely challenge you to take these definitions and phrases and test them out in the real world. Thanks so much for hanging out with me on this explainer. Stay curious out there and happy dining.